we are in this together. We are not separated by class, by ethnicity, by religion, or political persuasion. We are united in the true Chinese spirit.
Guyana's new president pledges to build a strong, united Guyana as CARICOM and members of the international community laud the declaration of the March 2nd regional and general elections results.
CARICOM mourns the passing of former Prime Minister of Barbados, Owen.
And the Bahamas goes on a second national lockdown as COVID-19 cases spiral. I am Tusankin English Francis.
And I am Michelle Nurse, bringing you up to date with what is happening around the region.
New President of Guyana, His Excellency Mohamed Irfan Ali, has pledged to build a strong, united Guyana for future generations as he took oath of office on the 2nd of August.
I want to assure you that I will uphold that oath, that I would work every day in the best interests of the people of Guyana. There is only one future, and that future requires a united Guyana. That future requires a strong Guyana. That future requires every Guyanese to play a part in building our country and ensuring we leave a better Guyana for the next generation.
Dr. Ali took the oath of office after the chair of GCOM, Madam Justice Retired Claudette Singh, declared him president. Her declaration was based on a report the Chief Elections Officer had submitted earlier in the day. CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Owen and members of the diplomatic community witnessed the Chancellor of the Judiciary, Justice Yolette Cummins Edwards, issue the oath of office at the Arthur Chung Convention Center.
I, Mohamed Irfan Ali, do hereby solemnly declare that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the people of Guyana. I will faithfully execute the office of President without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that in the execution of the functions of that office, I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. I do so swear. So help me God.
CARICOM joined regional and international organizations as well as Western countries in congratulating the new president and the People's Progressive Party Civic on their victory at the polls. The chairman of CARICOM, Dr. the Honorable Ralph Gonsalves, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, called the president to extend his best wishes. The CARICOM Secretary General personally conveyed his congratulations during the swearing-in ceremony on the 2nd of August. He also dispatched a congratulatory letter in which he offers his full support to the president, his government, and the people of Guyana in the efforts to ensure a prosperous and secure future for the country. In the letter, Ambassador Leroc also conveys his best wishes for a successful tenure. A separate statement issued by the CARICOM Secretariat reads in part, CARICOM commends the people of Guyana for their patience and maturity during this protracted process and will continue to support the country in its development efforts under this new government. In congratulating President Ali, Commonwealth Secretary General Baroness Patricia Scotland signaled the organization's support to Guyana in strengthening democratic and inclusive governance. And in a joint statement, envoys of the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and the European Union said they anticipate meaningful progress on constitutional reform and reconciliation. The Commonwealth Secretary General and the Western envoys commended outgoing President David Granger for accepting the results as befits the dignity of his office. The Organization of American States expressed satisfaction that GUYANA had heard the calls for the genuine results of the elections to be respected. It also congratulated the people of Guyana for their patience.
Chairman of CARICOM, Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves, describes the late former Prime Minister of Barbados, Owen Arthur, as a most esteemed son of our Caribbean civilization, as the community mourns his passing on the 27th of July in Barbados.
Our Caribbean, our hemisphere, and our world have lost a statesman and intellect of the highest quality. We shall miss him. I shall miss my dear friend, Owen, a progressive soul who applied his heart to wisdom. I am personally enveloped in a profound sadness, and grief, and pain at his death, yet full of fond and uplifting memories of him.
Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, lauds Arthur's contribution to Barbados. She says that his greatest domestic achievement was stemming unemployment in the early 1990s and adding 30,000 jobs to the Barbados economy. Prime Minister Mottley says Owen Arthur's strong patriotism was anchored by his burning passion for regional integration.
This passion fortunately coincided with his responsibility as the lead Prime Minister in CARICOM for the single market and single economy. I was with Owen in Jamaica when he signed in 2006, early 2006, with tremendous pride, the instrument that brought the CARICOM single market into existence. He was brimming with pride. On another front, Owen set out to and did master the art of politics. But he never in so doing compromised his economic training and his commitment at all times to sound policy. It was his hallmark.
Other CARICOM heads of government have offered their condolences to the government and people of Barbados, including Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown, who said Owen Arthur's death marks the loss of one of its most thoughtful, intelligent, and iconic sons. Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Hubert Minnis, says the Caribbean has lost a champion of the region. The Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt of Dominica remembers Owen Arthur's contribution to the socio-economic development of Dominica. Former President of Guyana, David Granger, recalls Owen Arthur's contribution to credible elections in Guyana as head of mission of the Commonwealth Election Observation Mission. Prime Minister Andrew Holness of Jamaica says Arthur was passionate about his country and the dream of regional integration. Prime Minister Alan Chasney of St. Lucia says the hearts of the people of St. Lucia go out to former Prime Minister's wife and daughters and to the government and people of Barbados. Prime Minister Timothy Harris of St. Kitts and Nevis says Arthur's sharp intellect and deep-rooted commitment to regional integration will be long remembered and missed. The CARICOM Secretary General, Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, says Prime Minister Arthur used considerable intellect and economic skill to further the development of Barbados and the region. The CARICOM Secretary General said he was a strident regionalist and a relentless advocate for the advancement of the CARICOM single market and economy. As then CARICOM lead head of government for the CSME, he worked very closely with the CARICOM Secretariat in efforts to advance the process. In that regard, he was instrumental in the establishment of a Secretariat office in Barbados dedicated to the initiative. He also worked assiduously to encourage the private sector to become more engaged in the work to make the CSME a lived reality, the Secretary General said. President of the Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. Warren Smith, says beyond the titan he was in Barbados politics, Owen Arthur was a steadfast and passionate defender of Caribbean regionalism. He says for Arthur, regional integration was a pathway to sustainable development. The University of the West Indies also lauded Owen Arthur as one of the greatest statesmen of the 20th century Caribbean. The UWI says even after his political career, Arthur remained connected to his alma mater and continued to nurture an intimate relationship with the UWI.
Prime Minister of the Bahamas, the Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, has announced a complete national lockdown of every island in the Bahamas as the country recorded a significant spike in the number of coronavirus cases. The national lockdown follows the announcement of a 2-week lockdown on Grand Bahama following a spike of COVID-19 cases there. The Bahamas recorded significant transmission rates following the opening of its borders on the 1st of July.
Over the past 2 weeks, health officials have seen an increase in the number of indicators that point to the need for a national lockdown. There has been an exponential increase in the number of cases, an increase in hospitalization, an increase in the demand for intensive care unit beds, and sadly, an increase in the number of deaths. The more cases that present to health institutions, the more services will be needed. And right now, our bed capacity and human resources are being increasingly stretched. Health officials advise that a lockdown will allow for the repurposing of health facilities and addition of health resources to accommodate the increased need for hospitalization and healthcare support. The national lockdown will be for a minimum of 2 weeks. Nearing the end of this period, we will assess the health data and advise whether a further lockdown period is necessary.
Public health officials in Guyana are also increasingly concerned about the spike in infections in the Upper Takatu, Upper Essequibo area. The region accounts for 80 of the 268 active cases in Guyana. Chief Medical Officer of Guyana, Dr. Shambio Prasad, says the area that is close to the Ghana-Brazil border is under threat from the exponential increase in Brazil, where new COVID-19 cases and deaths continue unabated. For more stories, you can visit the CARICOM news site at today.caricom.org or the CARICOM website at caricom.org.
Like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time.